Listen, here's the thing. If you can't spot the sucker in your first half hour at the table, then you are the sucker.
Yeah, he had a foolproof scheme, all right. It wasn't very scientific, but it worked. When he won, he collected. When he lost, he told the bookies to go fuck themselves.
Welcome to The Angle, your hub for all things in the sports betting world.
Let's bet it all. Double or nothing.
Yeah. Bet it all.
Now, here is your host, Dylan Leake.
Hey guys, welcome into The Angle. Just want to say real quick before we jump in to this segment that last week we went 3-1 on our best bets. We had one loss and the other three were easy winners. 75% to start the year plus 2 units. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out our podcast, all our sports content. It helps us massively. Comment what you think about my picks and what you are taking this weekend. It helps us and it helps with the algorithm get more views and get our content out there. But hope you guys like this content. I'm going to try to keep bringing you guys winners. Enjoy this video on my NFL best bet of the week. Today I'm going to be doing just one best bet for this NFL weekend, and we're going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers as they take on the Cleveland Browns, and we are going to be looking to the Browns this week. I know it's ugly, but I really like this pick. So we opened at Browns -4. Obviously, Deshaun Watson gets ruled out, and we got as low as Browns +1. Now we are closer to a pick'em here. It was, I believe, -1 at some shops I saw this morning as well. But I've been looking to fade the Steelers team for a long time, right? Why? The Steelers are 6-0 in one-score games this year. There's an actual metric called the luck metric that takes into account how lucky a team is. The Steelers, the luckiest team in the league this year by far, one of the luckiest teams in the history of football. They've been very fortunate. The fact that they're 6-3 is an absolute miracle. This team very well could be, 2-3 wins. They've been outgained in every game this season, yet won 6 of them. So obviously, really deceiving record is how I would put it for the Steelers. And so we look at this breakdown, and obviously let's start with Deshaun Watson, right? He's out for the season, terrible loss for the Browns, and so that's going to be the biggest thing we're going to look at here. So yes, Watson is out, and in comes Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They'll call him DTR, right? He's a rookie out of UCLA. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? His first start was really bad. 19 of 36, 121 yards, 3 interceptions, right? But you have to understand the spot that was, okay? So he's a rookie quarterback making his first career start. And this isn't some rookie quarterback making a first career start in the first game of a season where you prepare as the starter during the offseason. You are the starter. You get all the first-team reps, and the game plan is catered to you. You have all this time to look at one team, and that's what you're playing against. And you know the coverages and all that. Not the case at all, right? In the game that Dorian Thompson-Robinson started, Deshaun Watson was uncertain to play in that game. And so what ended up happening is they weren't sure who was the starter. And, DTR doesn't know whether he's going to be in there or not. So Watson practices a couple days, doesn't practice a couple days. So some of the reps he got, the game plan was not catered to DTR whatsoever. And then it didn't take until Sunday morning that they actually ruled him out. And that's when DTR knew he was making his start. You also think about the fact that in the offseason, you have a Deshaun Watson who only played in the second half of the season, really the last 7 games. And so you have to assume he took almost every snap he could. So DTR got very few snaps in the offseason. And then they were playing the Ravens defense in his first career start with no Nick Chubb, right? The first week, I believe, or second week without Nick Chubb. So to me, it's like that data point, it isn't good, right? But I think we can kind of put it to the side a little bit and say, okay, if he doesn't throw 3 interceptions this week, I think we have a good shot. And right, and here's kind of why, right? Like you look at, okay, what are the Browns replacing here, right? What is DTR filling into? Is it if Mahomes goes down and DTR is filling for Mahomes, obviously that's a huge drop off. But as much as I like Deshaun Watson, with the exception of the second half of last week against the Ravens, he wasn't very good this year, right? 29th in completion percentage, right? 25th in yards per attempt. 18th in touchdown to interception ratio. So he was not good as the Browns quarterback for the most part. Turned the ball over. The last 2 games he's played, he's turned the ball over like in the first possession, first couple plays. And so what are you really losing here with Watson? Obviously, he's better than DTR, but is he that much better, at least this version of him? I don't know how much better he is, especially considering how the Browns play. They want to run the ball. They want to play defense. They aren't throwing the ball 50 times a game. So how much do you need him to do? And that makes sense, right? PJ Walker, when he filled in, they were able to win games. And when you look at PJ Walker, this is why another reason I like the Browns. PJ Walker, if you grade out all quarterbacks who have dropped back at least 500 times in the past 2 decades, metrically, PJ Walker is the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL. He's the worst quarterback in the last 20 years, metrically, right? So you have to think that that's going to be somewhat of an improvement here, right? You get DTR, he's going to be better than he was in his first start. There's going to be a game plan. He's going to get all the first team reps. They announced it early in the week, right? He's going to be able to mentally prepare, okay? And then you're taking on a Steelers defense that is not good, right? PFF has them graded 16th in the NFL. I actually think that's high. I have them rated as the 19th best defense. So they're in the bottom half of the league either way. They're 21st in tackling, 17th in red zone defense, 19th in coverage. The only thing that they do half decent is rush the passer. So minus getting to the quarterback against a pretty good Browns offensive line, they don't do anything well. Then you add in, they are decimated at linebacker. They have a ton of injuries. Minka Fitzpatrick is out in the secondary. They have lots of guys out. Now, one key thing is Cam Hayward is back this week. So that will help them a little bit stopping the run. But in general, they have not been good against the run, and that's what the Browns are going to do here. They're going to run the ball. They ran the ball extremely well against them the first matchup, these 2 plays. Then you look at the other side of the ball, the Browns defense versus the Steelers offense, and this is actually the biggest mismatch of the game, right? You would think, oh, rookie quarterback DTR taking his second career start, he was awful, going to be terrible. Well, actually, Kenny Pickett versus this Browns defense is what I would be scared of if I was looking at this game. And you look at the Browns defense, they really are one of the best in the league, if not the best. And they proved it last week. Even though the scoreboard says there was 31 points scored by the Ravens, the reality is there was only 17 points that the defense allowed, right? The other 2 touchdowns were off of interception return for a touchdown and a muffed punt inside the 10-yard line. So the reality is, even against one of the better offenses who's been humming, right? Ravens put up, 35 plus against the Seahawks and 40 against the Lions a couple weeks ago. The Browns defense in Baltimore did a really good job against that team. And they've been elite against the run and elite against the pass. Top 10 in success rate against the run, top 10 in EPA per rush. And then you look at the Steelers offense in Kenny Pickett, and it's bad, man. I mean, it's really bad. Kenny Pickett has graded out better than just 3 starting quarterbacks this year. And those 3 starting quarterbacks are Josh Dobbs, Mac Jones, and Zach Wilson. That's it. Those are the only 3 quarterbacks Kenny Pickett has graded out better than, according to Pro Football Focus. So he has been atrocious. The last 2 games, Kenny Pickett has not attempted a pass between the hash marks. That means everything is outside. Why? Because it's less risky, right? Shots down the field, outside, more likely to go out of bounds, less likely to be intercepted, right? Throwing over the middle, bad things happen to young quarterbacks when they look over the middle. They want to not turn the ball over. That's how the Steelers have had some success. They have 8 turnovers on the season. That is the least in the NFL. That's how they've been in some of these games, and the luck factor has come in, but that's how they stay in the game, right? Against the Ravens, when they pulled that upset, they just didn't turn the ball over, so they were only down by, 8, and their defense was able to get a safety and a turnover, right? That's their only shot here, is to force a ton of turnovers, right? Kenny Pickett, everything is predictable. The offense, Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator for the Steelers, maybe the worst offensive coordinator in the league. The fact that Ken Dorsey got fired before that guy is wild. Matt Canada is awful, and he's predictable. Everything is run and short pass. If they have a chance to take a deep shot against a coverage that presents itself, great, but they're not looking to do it. They have no explosiveness. They have no threats on the outside. Even George Pickens, who's a really good receiver, the last 3 games, 6 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. He's done nothing, right? So you have a quarterback who doesn't throw the ball over the middle. You have an offense that is extremely predictable. You have a quarterback who's graded out in the bottom of the league, only better than 3 other quarterbacks, and you're playing against the best defense in the league on the road? That is an impossible spot, and it's why we have a total sitting at 33, which is a number you might see in an NFL preseason game. So Again, Steelers recipe, don't turn over the ball, minimize mistakes. I don't know that that can work to win the game here unless the Browns do nothing offensively. And I just think the Steelers defense isn't good enough for the Browns to do nothing offensively. I think Stefanski's smart enough to not let DTR put it in harm's way. And they're going to run the ball. And here's the thing. If the Browns get up early and they get up, say, 10, 13 points, and Steelers can't move the ball, and they get to a point where they're forced to throw the ball, that is a recipe for disaster. Kenny Pickett will turn the ball over a lot. So this I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a tight game. The total's 33. It's a pick-'em spread. But I think the Browns have a chance to, not only are they going to win, I think they have a chance to win by a lot if they get up by double digits late. When you look at the first matchup between these two teams in week 2, right? The Pittsburgh offense, 28% success rate versus the Cleveland Browns defense. That's one of the worst marks of any team all season. So against this exact team at home, they were horrible. Less than 3 out of every 10 plays graded successfully. Awful. Really, really bad. No success, right? It took 2 defensive touchdowns from the Steelers defense, a busted coverage on a play late, and a turnover late, and all of that, still they were going to lose the game if it weren't for a pass interference call that was missed late on the Steelers. So, to me, the Browns have been dominant all season long defensively, right? The Steelers' offense is bad. DTR isn't as bad as he showed week 1. We talked about it, how the difference between DTR and Deshaun Watson isn't as massive as people think. And all that culminates to, I like this spot for the Browns. And then you look at the numbers, and my numbers have this game. Even with DTR at a starting quarterback, I have the Browns favored on a neutral field by 1.5 over the Steelers. So add 2 points, 2.5 points for home field advantage, and I get this number to almost 3.5. And I'm getting a pick 'em here. That's way too much value for me, especially with a total of 33. Give me the Cleveland Browns. It's ugly. It's real ugly. You might want to save yourself some time and not watch the game. Just take the bet, check the score when the game is over, and you'll have an extra amount of money in your account, because I see the Pittsburgh Steelers getting shellacked by the Cleveland Browns here. Cleveland Browns, pick 'em, book it. Now, last thing I'll say, don't take -1 if that's where your book is at, if you can get -120 or better, because in a game where the total is 33, a point could matter. So find a way to get money line at -120 or better. A lot of places have pick 'em right now. Shop around, make sure you get the best number, but book it and lock it in. My first best bet of the week, my first NFL best bet on this podcast, The Angle, we are going to go with the Cleveland Browns. Good luck in all your betting endeavors. I'll be back soon with some more NFL picks and my best bets in college, which we went 3-1 in last weekend.